The Lord be with you. Good afternoon, everyone. You're very welcome to this memorial service for the life of John Laird. A memorial service and a funeral service take the facts of one life, remember the things that one man has achieved, but they also take the fact of one life and put them in the bigger picture of the eternal purposes of God, a God who never changes and a God who is eternal while individual men unfortunately come and go. We brought nothing into this world and we can take nothing out. The Lord hath given and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Eternal God, you hold all souls in life. May the bright beams of your light and heavenly comfort shine upon your whole church, and grant that we, following the good examples of those who have loved and served you, and are now at rest, may at last enter with them into the fruit of your unending joy. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. O Lord, support us all the day long, until the shades lengthen and the evening comes, and the busy world is hushed, the fever of life is over, and our work here is done. Then, Lord, in your mercy, grant us a safe lodging, a holy rest, and peace at the last. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. We remain standing to sing the great Lord's hymn, Guide me, O thou great Jehovah.
Amen. scripture reading is taken from the 3rd chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes, beginning at the 1st verse. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silent, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He has made everything beautiful in his time. He has also set the world in their hearts, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh for him from the beginning to the end. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his neighbours. It is the gift of God. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. This is the word of God.
Good afternoon, everyone. There's a time for everything, and today is a time when John's brothers and friends in the Orange Institution pay our tribute to one who is much admired and beloved by all here. I had the sad duty and indeed the privilege of conducting John's funeral service earlier this year, when we gathered to give thanks for his life and show support and sympathy for Carol, Alison and David. We do so again today. In many ways, a memorial service is similar to a funeral service, however it serves two additional purposes. It allows people who weren't able to attend the funeral to come and honour and remember a friend. And secondly, it is usually organised by an organisation in which the deceased was held in high esteem. The Orange Institution in Royal York LL 145 and Mount Office 1690 fit that criteria, hence this service today. I checked on the internet for the etiquette for a memorial service, and I found the following advice. At a fairly grand service, traditional mourning dress may be worn, in which case most women would wear formal day dress with hats. No, Carol, I didn't get the name right. The advice goes on. However, if the person being commemorated and their family are informal characters, it is not necessary to adhere to a strict dress code. I don't know if Karen or Alison or David were likely to be described as informal characters, but I can say with confidence that John was a character. You only have to look at the photos on your order of service to see how formal and informal he was. Everything from scarlet and ermine robes has been fitting up here to the realm, to Hawaiian shirt and everything in between. I don't know about you, but it reminds me of a movie star in that Hawaiian shirt, but I can't think of which one, so maybe answers on a postcard. So today we all share in this official informal memorial service for a character in all senses of the word. Our worshipful brother and friend, the Honourable the Lord Laird of Ardycartham, better known to one and all as John. I said at John's funeral service, it was one of the easiest tributes to put together. because of the amount of information available. The stories about John Laird could fill a library. However, I also said it was one of the hardest, not because I had to decide what to leave out, but because, like those here, I knew him. John was someone special and a true friend to all. Let me share some descriptions used to describe John Laird around the time of his passing by those who knew him. A gentleman, a real character, to that we can add an informal character, a committed unionist, a wind-up merchant, an inspiration, an orange man to the core, a great colleague, one of a kind, flamboyant, colourful, a proud Ulsterman, a visionary and a lateral thinker. And as I said then, but foremost of all these descriptions were that he was a great dad and a loving husband. And while we meet as an Orange family of brethren and friends to honour him and give thanks to God for the privilege of knowing John, it is in the hope that John's loss will always be most acutely felt, and our prayers, thoughts and sympathy continue to be with Carol, Alison and David. My brief for today is to share what I shared on the 14th of July at John's funeral. However, as the Reverend Bishop and Maynard Cannon will also be sharing their experiences of John's friendship, I've adapted my tribute accordingly. Shorter, but not that much shorter. So forgive me if you hear the same stories I shared then. At least it shows you were listening, and that's not always the case when ministers preach that people listen. You can maybe append the notes in the excellent pen picture on your order of service. John Dunn Laird was born on the 23rd of April 1944 at Malone Place Clinic, Belfast. He was one of two sons born to Dr. Norman Laird, a GP, and Margaret Laird, the other being our good brother Jimmy, his brother. John attended Inchmarlow and Royal Belfast Academical Institution, of which he would later become a governor, and that pleased him greatly, as he was an extremely proud Inchtonian. Something he would often point out at every opportunity, although aspects of school life were difficult for John, as many know he was dyslexic. However, by all accounts, John had a happy childhood. He was in the Scouts and was beginning to develop a lifelong interest in trams and trains. During the Blitz, brother Jimmy was evacuated at his mother's home place at Ardygarvan, County Tyrone. And after the war, John and James spent their school holidays there on the family farm. I would dare to suggest, if you did not hear John describe Ardygarvan as the centre of the universe, then you never met him. On leaving school, he went to work at the TSB Bank, where he became a clerk, and then a bank inspector, and was involved in the initial computerisation of the bank programming and punch cards. John's parents were both heavily involved in unionist politics. His father was MP for St Anne's and his mother a Belfast City Councillor. So it was natural for John to become involved in the young unionists. However, politics wasn't the only attraction for John. John had discovered girls, and these stories were too good to leave out today. On one particular occasion, the police called at the Summerlin Road home to question Dr. Laird about careless driving. It was reported that he'd been seen driving his car up the Springfield Road while his arm was around the girl in the passenger seat. It's not reported if his father turned John in as the driver. John wasn't deterred by the police visit and was while at a dance at the Thorn Hall of Belfast one night. He was to meet a young Fermanagh nurse, Carol Ferguson. At the end of the night, John offered to take her home to the nurse's accommodation at the Throne Hospital on the Whitewell Road. Carol agreed, but asked could he also give her friends a lift home. I don't think John's intentions had been to act as a taxi, but he agreed. Phone numbers were exchanged and John promised to ring. He never did, but months later, they again bumped into each other at a dance, and Carol pointed out that John hadn't phoned. John didn't make the same mistake twice, and I suspect Carol didn't ask for a lift for her friends. It was the start of a romance that blossomed as the love for each other grew. In spite of the facts that dates often involved visits to steam train events, John knew how to show a girl a good time. Carol and John were married in Inchmacsaint, excuse my pronunciation, Church of Ireland in Derry, Donegall on the 24th of April 1971. And and told the receptions in the Killyhaven, followed by a 2-week honeymoon in London and Mallorca. The young married couple initially moved into John's mother's house in Summer Road, before moving to the Belmont Road and then to Earnswood Road, which would become the family home. The marriage was blessed with 2 children, Alison and David, and in recent years the family was extended with the arrival of son-in-law James and granddaughter Ellie May, who became the apple of her papa's eye. John's life had taken an unexpected turn prior to his marriage, when he was elected as MP for St Anne's on the 13th of November 1970. However, in 1975, when John realised that politics had stalled following the fall of the convention, he realised he needed a new career to provide for his wife and soon-to-be family. And John, as well know, did nothing by half. And in March 1976, from a room in his house, he started John Laird Public Relations. Indeed, John Laird was the founding father of the PR industry in Northern Ireland. 10 years later, the firm moved to 104 Hollywood Road, where the company remained for the next 30 years. John's clients were many and varied. W.G. Burge, Tyrone Brick, Black Patrick Darius, based in his beloved Ardy Garfin, of course, Belfast Sue, Tyrone Crystal, the list could go on. As chairman of the Institute of PR, he helped forge closer relationships between his profession and the media by creating the Media Awards, which has now run annually for over 20 years. The Ulster University recognised his talents and appointed him as a visiting professor in recognition of his expertise and willingness to nurture and encourage new talent in the PR sector. In 2012, he was honoured with an award by the Chartered Institute of PR, recognising his outstanding contribution to the industry. Not a bad business career for someone who hadn't attended university because of his dyslexia. John, through his time, remained active in politics, and the hundreds of tweets about his contribution to Northern Ireland, I found at that time, and still do, one of the most appropriate was from Peter Weir. He tweeted, "At a time when so many in his generation and from his background no longer considered it advantageous to be politically active, or left Northern Ireland, or no longer spoke of politics and polite society, John Laird stuck with his convictions and his involvement throughout his entire life." Personally, I first met John as a member of the Ulster Society, which was established to promote Ulster Britishness. The committee involved, amongst others, David Trimble, Nelson McCausland, Gordon Lucy, and the late Drew Nelson. We met at John's office, 104 Hollywood Road. Not only did he provide a meeting place, but his experience and advice was freely given. It was from those small beginnings that the Ulster-Scots sector was to emerge, and John, along with others, were key in founding and promoting the infrastructure that exists today for the Ulster-Scots network. As someone put it to me, he didn't know all about Ulster-Scots, but he consulted and listened to those who did. He became a key advocate in all things Ulster-Scots, indeed being the first chair of the Ulster-Scots agency. Maynard will share some thoughts about this through an interpreter later on. Politics back in the game. When John became a life peer on the 16th of July 1999, and he took the title of where else Lord Laird of Ardy Garden. And John became an active member of the Lords. He was permitted to design his coat of arms, which reflected his interest in life. He chose 6 red hands for what he described as the political province of Ulster. Green wavy lines to recognise the rolling hills around, where else but Ardy Garden. 2 steam locomotive driving wheels for his love of railway history. 2 seahorses in recognition of Belfast and his old school inst. And all topped by a cat, his favourite animal, holding a thistle, underscoring his Scottish culture and background. He chose as his motto, "Fortis Regonic." He was especially pleased that it was the first time Ulster-Scots had appeared on a peer's coat of arms. The motto means "into the future with justice," which John said reminded him to always fight for the underdog. Those who knew John knew he held strong principles. To remind him of these, he kept a copy of Rudyard Kipling's poem "If" in his office wall at 104 Hollywood Road and in his study at home. If you know the poem in it, Kipling is defining what it means to have integrity and how to act accordingly. Someone who doesn't blame others for mistakes, listens to both sides of an issue, takes risks, accepts losses, and never forgets who they are. John Laird was not perfect. He never claimed to be. But none of us are, however, I think we can recognise from this poem many of the qualities that John tried to emulate. John saw the good in everyone, sometimes to the point of naivety. John enjoyed many other interests outside work and politics, and indeed the Orange. I've already mentioned his love of trams and trains. John had a room at home dedicated to the model railway layout, with hundreds of model engines and rolling stock in his collection. And at the funeral service, I was very careful in describing them as engines, because John would point out they would only become trains when they were pulling carriages. He made a video of the Super 8 film he had taken at the trolley buses. And while growing up, he added film producer to his list of jobs. He was a cricket fan and supported Somerset, and in football, he followed Arsenal. Not a great reader because of his dyslexia, but an avid listener to Radio 4 and 5 and a devotee of Blackadder and television. John obviously enjoyed music, which was associated with the Ulster-Scots, and school we're going to hear some of that today. But he also enjoyed the hillbilly sounds of the Appalachians, and of course the skirl of the pipes. However, his secret pleasure, well, maybe not so secret if he were in his car or neighbour, was the status quo blasted out rocking all over the world. Or down, down, the louder, the better. I don't think we're going to be playing these today, but you can try them in the car on the way home. It was also partial and told to Nick Kershaw or Blondie. John was a lifelong active member of the Orange Institution, joining Royal York LOL 145. All here don't need me to share John's commitment to the institution. We know that's why we're here today. You all will recall how John was extremely generous. Generous with his time, generous in sharing his experience and expertise. He was generous to a fault. I could go on, but time defends me. Suffice to say, first brother John Laird will be missed by all. It was a privilege for each of us to have known him. Ken Latimer read a passage from the Bible earlier from Ecclesiastes. Words penned by Solomon 700 years ago. Words that seem so appropriate for us today. For everything there is a season, a time to be born and a time to die. In an instance, in one short sentence, the authors expressed how fragile life is. And maybe that's the most important question we can ask today, is what time is it? You see, we measure time by moments and years. We measure it by seasons, by spring, summer, autumn and winter. Or perhaps time should be measured by more than hands on a clock or months in a calendar. Perhaps our lives should be measured by the relationships that we have with others, and the quality of those relationships rather in terms of years. We give thanks today for the time spent with John Laird. There's time and season for every event under heaven. There's a time to weep and a time to mourn. This memorial service is a time of remembering. And I'd urge you to think of the good times, the funny times, the experiences shared, and yes, even the sad times, as you remember the life of John Laird. May those memories continue to bring comfort to all who mourn, not least his family. Amen.
shortcut. You know, despite being a bishop, this is the first time I've ever stood in a pulpit. It's a bit of a daunting task. But many of you gathered here today will assume that my friendship with John was connected to the Orkneys institution. In fact, John Laird can be blamed for me becoming a member. So the brethren of the Belfast County who are here, you know who's to blame for putting me in this position. Therefore, my commiserations to the County Landlords of Belfast. I joined the Belfast Savings Bank in October 1961, the reason being that my grammar school, which shall remain nameless, told my parents that I was wasting my time and their time trying to educate me and that I was no longer welcome. At least at primary school, I was taught to add and subtract, and this fortunately was good enough for the bank. The following year, the bank recruited more staff, and among these was John Laird, who ended up in the same branch as myself, which was the main office on Arthur Street. John and I seemed to hit it off, he being a staunch unionist, and me being a true blue ardent Linfield supporter. Excuse me. The following year, the bank recruited more staff. Oh, I've done that wee bit. We were eventually separated, he going to Carlisle Circus and me to Shankill Road for a few months before going to Andersonstown. We still kept in touch and met up at various bank functions. In 1966, John followed in the footsteps of his father and older brother and joined the ranks of Royal York 145. The following year, career-wise, John was transferred to Laird branch and I was transferred to Ballyclare. I travelled by bus and John travelled by car. Due to bus travel times and to save money, that's why I'm now County Grand Treasurer. I used to hitch home in the afternoons. At times I only managed to lift as far as the main road to Laird, but this is where John would come to my rescue. After our usual moan about the bank and having to travel out of Belfast and how our campaign to get transferred was going, the conversation inevitably turned to the loyal esteem with John enthusiastically promoting the Orkneys institution and the unionist cause. In 1968, then, with me and Castlereagh and John on the inspection staff, he turned up at the office with a candidate form, filled it in, and got me to sign it. On Wednesday the 5th of June 1968, I was initiated into Royal York 145. My first full meeting was in July when final arrangements were made for the 12th of July. A member reported that the arrangements for the ice cream had been made. This puzzled me greatly. And after the meeting I asked John for an explanation, which was that a number of the members don't like using the phrase liquid refreshments and this being recorded in the minutes, so the term ice cream is used. It wasn't long before John then got me involved in the Young Unionists. Many stories could be told involving John. Time doesn't permit. A few headlines: canvassing the doctors and nurses in the tower blocks at the Royal Victoria Hospital, moving the opposition caravans used as tally rooms from outside the polling stations on the eve of the election, and ensuring large numbers from St Anne's constituency were in attendance at the City Hall count when numbers were greatly restricted. Career-wise, John and I again ended up working together. In 1968, the bank decided to computerise and selection tests were held. To the bank's dismay, John and I were found to be suitable candidates for computer training. A few days later, we were brought to a meeting and given an overview of what would be included. The first question asked came from John: is this going to affect my social life? Answer: not at all. How wrong this turned out to be. With the deadline of July 1970 to have all programming complete and the system commissioned in order to meet the deadline of decimalisation, this period involved long hours and sometimes away from home days at a time. In our free time in London, amongst other activities, John and I could be found in Fleet Street delivering press statements on behalf of the Young Unionists. However, due to this During this intense period, we always, where possible, endeavoured to attend the Lord's meetings on the first Wednesday of the month. Sadly, John's father, Dr. Norman Laird, died suddenly in April 1970, and subsequently John was elected to Stormont in his place as representative for St Anne's constituency. He still carried on working in the bank with time off to attend Parliament. Many a lunchtime we made the trek round to Fannin House, which was the home to RTE Belfast operation, where John did live interview. John was to leave the bank on the 1st of December 1973, devoting his time to politics. However, politics ground to a halt in March 1976 when direct rule was introduced. John then formed his own very successful PR company, as we have already heard. He was created a life peer in July 1999, which opened up a whole new chapter in John's life. He took an active part in proceedings. For those of you who have watched the live TV coverage from the House of Lords, you can rest assured that Lord Laird would not be one of those having a quiet afternoon doze. This also opened up new opportunities for the Lodge. On Friday the 14th of June 2002, the Lodge held a meeting in the Houses of Parliament followed by a dinner. Not being permitted to wear collarettes, epaulets were produced and these were worn instead. Prior to the meeting, John gave a guided tour of the Houses of Parliament, taking us to areas which gave the security staff some concern. But John, in his own inimitable way, assured them we would behave and not take any souvenirs away. He had certainly made himself well known and respected. And in 2007, John was again responsible for organising another dinner. As chairman of the Ulster-Scots agency, John enthusiastically promoted Ulster-Scots language and culture. This again had a spin-off for the Lodge, as a replica boat, Eagle Wing, built for the production on Eagle's wings, was made available to the Lodge for use on the 12th of July. The 12th of July was always something special for the Lodge, but especially since the turn of the century. The use of the Eagle Wing in 2004 started something, and each year there was a float, horse-drawn carriage, or historic vehicle to accompany the Lodge, and also that John was attired in an appropriate costume. The spectators and the media came to expect something unusual from York Lodge. Also at the Lord's marquee, the members would be joined by various MPs and Lords who had been invited by John, over a meal and some ice cream. This gave these people a chance to hear the views of grassroots Orangemen and us an opportunity to question them on the feelings of Westminster politicians regarding the situation in Northern Ireland. One of the last events John was involved in organising and attending was a centennial service of remembrance to a late brother, 2nd Lieutenant Alexander James Donnelly, who was the Lord's late chaplain. Brother Donnelly was the last member of the Royal Flying Corps to die on the 31st of March 1918, as the name changed on the following day to the Royal Air Force. The service was held in Ballintoy Parish Church on Saturday the 24th of March this year. A few months ago, in preparation for the Imperial Arms Council, I was doing a bit of research in my roof space and was hunting through some stuff, and I came across, some of you will remember, a Belfast Savings Bank passbook. I opened it up and it was in the names of Mr. Mervyn Bishop and Mr. John D. Laird, and it was payable to both. We obviously trusted each other because one of us couldn't take the money out without the other knowing. We lodged the princely sum of 1 shilling in May 1970, which in turn on the 15th of February became, well, 15th of February 71 became 5p. Now, over the next 2 or 3 years, we put in a few pounds every so often. We also got, surprising enough, interest, which nobody hears anything about these days. And on the 23rd of February 1973, we had the princely sum of £71 and 2p, which was subsequently withdrawn. Now, part of my problem is I have no why we opened this account. I have no idea where we got the money from to put into it or where it came from. I have no idea what we actually did with the money when we took it out. But the account is still open today. It's a princely sum of 3p. We've heard so much already about John Flamboyant, and Brother Gibson has gone through the different descriptions that have been of John. He certainly did have a knack of enthusiasming you and recruiting me. He recruited me into the institution. He was so enthusiastic about everything that he actually did. He was a great motivator in that aspect. And everything he set his heart upon was tackled with enthusiasm and positivity. He never saw the negative side. When you listen to him, as I said, speaking, you felt motivated. He will long be remembered by not only me, but also by the members of Lord LOL 145.